Hey, what's up and hello. This is the Chris Nicole bringing you my views on life, love, and the world of entertainment through my eyes. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on what time you are watching this live. Hello, crew. Hope all is well. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in, please. Um, Unfortunately, this is not a good video. Okay. And I'm going to say right now, trigger warning, because if I can be honest, I'm really triggered right now. This is giving me flashbacks to the early 90s out here in Los Angeles. So bear with me, but also at the same time, trigger warning. Okay. So I'm just letting you guys know this in advance. So I ended up seeing this breaking news about a young man, 22 years old, who is now no longer with us due to 10 prison guards, 10 correctional officers who fatally beat him. Okay. And not only did they fatally beat him, but they tried to cover it up. They even tried to plant evidence. Okay. And from my understanding, just based off of doing my research, this is the second case like this where guards have actually unalived someone in this state in a correctional facility. This is the second one this year, okay, or within the past year. So we're going to break this down. And I'm also going to show you a video of this information. I was just waiting for some people to get in. But this is definitely like, there's a lot going on, you guys. So 10 New York prison guards were charged Wednesday in connection with the fatal beating of 22-year-old inmate last month, including 2 charged with unaliving. It's the second time a group of correctional officers in the state have been indicted for an unalive situation behind bars this year. Messiah Natwi, if I'm saying his name correctly, if not, my apologies, family. If you ever hear this, hopefully it's not my intent. Messiah Natwi, a prisoner of Mid-State Correctional Facility, passed March 1st from injuries he sustained in a series of beatings by guards that began in his room and continued even when he was lying handcuffed on the floor of the infirmary, the indictment says. 6 of the officers charged Wednesday were accused of assaulting Natwi, while the other 4 were accused of participating in a cover-up that include filing false reports, plotting to plant a makeshift pokey, you know what a pokey is, and clean up the red sauce in Natwi's room in an effort to destroy evidence. However, all have entered not guilty pleas. You guys, this for me, again, this is giving me the Rodney King situation. But Rodney King did survive, but this is giving me the Rodney King situation where you have video, you have proof, and yet they also pleaded not guilty. So I'm gonna actually play a video, but I'm first gonna give you the names because I do have the damn court documents. Yeah, I have them. So I'm gonna give you the names of these race soldiers in regards to this, because as you can see from the picture, none of them are black. Okay, none of them are black. So bear with me just one moment while I actually pull this information up. I'm going to share the screen. Give me a second. All right. Okay, so let me know if you guys can see it. All right, so right here we have, and this is the county of Oneida. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's the people of the state of New York versus Jonah Levi, Caleb Blair, Francis Chandler, Thomas Beck, Craig Klemick, Daniel Berger, David Ferron, Nicholas Vitale, Michael Efert, and Donald Slauson. Okay. The grand jury of county of Oneida by this indictment accuses Jonah Levy and Caleb Blair of the felony crime of, you see it, in the second degree criminal liability for conduct of another in violation of section. Okay. So let me scroll down. Sorry, you guys. This just completely pisses me off, because at what point do these people stop this bullshit? So for the most part, it talks about on Saturday, the first day of March, the administration of the Mid-State Correctional Facility in Marcy, New York, and Oneida County was dealing with a correction officer strike. To deal with the shortage of correctional officers, the governor of the state of New York mobilized the New York State National Guard to assist New York correctional facilities in guarding the incarcerated individuals and to maintain order. The National Guardsmen received little training to deal with these prisoners or on how to interact with them. On this day at approximately 10:58 a.m., a request for assistance was broadcast by the National Guard, resulting in the Mid-State CERT Corrections Emergency Response Team responding to Building 21 to deal with an unknown issue with an incarcerated individual. Defendants were a part of that CERT team, and upon arriving at Building 21, they were directed to Room 21A and an incarcerated individual, Messiah Natwi, by the National Guardsmen. Having no clear understanding of why CERT response was necessary, defendants entered Messiah Natwi's room after a member of CERT member had already engaged the incarcerated individual. During a subsequent encounter, contrary to the DOCCS protocols, defendants began beating Messiah Natwi, including multiple strikes to his body and head with their boots. Again, you guys, trigger warning. Once Messiah Natwi was no longer responsive, defendants transported Messiah Natwi out of Building 21 with their objective being to take him to the facility infirmary. While defendants transported incarcerated individual Messiah Natwi down the stairwell out of Building 21, and a further assault occurred with Messiah Natwi being assaulted on the stairs by defendants as he was carried out of the building. Messiah Natwi was subsequently dumped in a holding cell at the infirmary and further struck by defendant Caleb Blair. As a result of the numerous beatings by defendants and their fellow correctional officers, incarcerated individual Messiah Natwi passed due to the massive head trauma and numerous other injuries to his body. Defendants conduct in beating Messiah Natwi and kicking him and stomping on his head for no legitimate law enforcement purpose, and for further assaulting him and injuring him on the stairs, exiting his building, and for leaving him unattended in a holding cell for several minutes. Sorry, you guys. Again, it's even hard to read it. It's really hard to read it because it is a lot. I'm going to actually, because if I really go into detail, all of this detail, it's maddening, but I'm going to play an actual video for you that is actually going to speak. I think it's the special investigator in regards to this, and they're going to talk about the details, and they're going to talk about exactly what occurred and what everyone is charged with. Okay. So let me just go here. And again, fair use. I definitely want you guys to hear this. There's a lot going on, you guys. There is definitely a lot going on, and this is insane. But I don't like the fact that there are. Hold on, you guys.
And 1236 on the west.
Okay, so here we go. Let me know if you guys can see it, and let me know if you guys can hear it. The fact that they're saying that they were on a strike and they brought other people in, and they were not capable or prepared on how to deal with these inmates, then what the hell did you bring them in there for? Like, there's no excuse, even with the training that they have, to do what the hell they did. One guy, 22 years old, with 10 guys, and I'm going to show you pictures of some of these guys too, okay? This was some straight BS. There's no nice way to put it. It's a lot. So I'm going to play it and let me know if you guys can hear it. Fair use.
West Coast. My name is Josh Breslow, and I'm here to bring you all of your top stories and live events from across the country and across the world. I do want to get to a developing story that we are following now, as 10 New York prison guards have been charged in connection with the fatal beating of a 22-year-old inmate last month, including 2 charged with murder. It's the second time a group of correctional officers in that state has been indicted for a death behind bars this year. We are hearing from the state attorney right now, providing more information. So let's pop up the audio and listen in.
All right, good afternoon. Everybody all set? Good afternoon. My name is Bill Fitzpatrick. I am the Onondaga County elected DA, and I have been appointed special prosecutor by the Attorney General, Letitia James, to investigate the death of Messiah Nantwi, which, as you know, occurred on March 1st of this year. Today, an Oneida County grand jury reported out a single indictment charging 10 current and former corrections officers with various crimes relating to the death of Mr. Nantwi. 6 other corrections officers who have not appeared in court yet have agreed to cooperate with the special prosecutor, and I have made deals with them. 2 of them will be pleading to felonies, and 4 of them will be pleading to various misdemeanors. All defendants, even those that I've made deals with, are entitled to the presumption of innocence. An indictment is only an indictment. It's a set of allegations, and there's a lot of work yet to be done in this particular case. I'd like to summarize for you what is in the public record regarding the indictment as to the events of Saturday, March 1st of this year. As you all know, and as Commissioner Marticello is acutely aware, at that time there was a corrections officer strike going on. There was also an influx of National Guardsmen that were present at Mid-State and several other correctional facilities throughout the state of New York. At approximately 10:55 a.m. that morning, the people are able to show that all was well in Building 21 where Mr. Nantwi resided. I know that because the corrections officer who was assigned to do rounds on that occasion walked past his room at approximately 10:55 a.m. and there was nothing going on. At about 10:58 a.m., a call went out over the radio at the facility calling for backup. The evidence will show that when the CERT team responded and got there at approximately 11 a.m., there was virtually no or minimal effort to determine what was the need for the backup, what the nature of the call was. No weapons were observed and no assaultive behavior was observed by the CERT team members as they entered Building 21. A non-CERT team member, a corrections officer, recorded the last video of Mr. Nantwi before the alleged assault, and he was no longer able to communicate. That corrections officer exited the room and various CERT team members entered. None of them, to our knowledge at this point, were wearing mandated body-worn cameras. Approximately 4.5 minutes later, Mr. Nantwi is removed from his room and taken down 3 sets of stairs, where it is alleged by the grand jury that an additional assault occurred in the stairwell. Handcuffed and taken to the infirmary and laid on the floor in a holding cell, an additional assault is alleged to have occurred by the grand jury. Fragments of Mr. Nantwi's entrance into the infirmary are captured on one corrections officer's body-worn camera. It is not a continuing flow, but there are enough indications to name and identify the individuals involved and some of the things that occurred. Many other corrections officers, apparently intentionally, either turned off their cameras, placed them in an area of concealment, or simply looked the other way. Kunkel ambulance personnel responded to the infirmary following a call at 11:36 a.m. At approximately 11:47 a.m., and at that point detected no signs of life in Mr. Nantwi. It was determined by the Onondaga County medical examiner that Mr. Nantwi died from traumatic brain injuries as a result of violent blows to his head as well as at least 69 other serious blows about his body.
You guys, this is why I said trigger warning. Trigger warning. And usually I don't do this, but I feel it is very important that we need to know what the heck is going on at this point. We have had 2 people unalived in this same state when it comes to the correctional facilities. So I know it's uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable listening to it. As you can probably hear in my voice, I was uncomfortable in reading the details. But this is what's going on, and people need to know what's going on because we have to start making change. We have to.
No COs required any medical intervention. I was appointed special prosecutor shortly after the incident and assisted by my own investigative team, officials from the Department of Corrections and Community Service, and the New York State Police. We began an investigation and wanted to assist the grand jury in answering the following questions. Who, if anyone, was justified in using physical force against Mr. Nantwey? 2, if initial force was justified, did it remain appropriate and proportionate to the danger presented, if any, throughout the encounter? And did it follow DOC's protocols? And 3rd, were efforts made to thwart my investigation by deception, concealment, or destruction? The grand jury has answered those questions as follows. The first count charges 2 individuals, corrections officers Jonah Levy and Caleb Blair, with depraved mind murder. Not an intentional murder, but a murder so depraved and so wanton and disregarding of human life that New York law allows it to rise to the level of intentional murder. They are charged based on their actions, not only in Mr. Nantwey's room, but also in the stairwell and in the infirmary. Secondly, the grand jury has returned charges of manslaughter in the 1st degree, intent to cause serious physical injury resulting in death. Those corrections officers are again Levi and Blair, and additionally Thomas Eck, Craig Klemek, and Daniel Berger. They are also charged with gang assault in the 1st degree, intent to cause serious physical injury, and doing so, a Class B violent felony. Same individuals, Levy, Blair, Eck, Klemek, and Berger. Gang assault in the 2nd degree, intent to cause simply physical injury and resulting in serious physical injury. And this time, the same individuals, in addition to Sergeant Francis Chandler. Manslaughter in the 2nd degree has been charged against Sergeants David Ferrone and Francis Chandler. The theory of prosecution on that count is that these 2 sergeants in a supervisory role in Mr.
Supervisory role, and they're calling them a gang. Y'all heard that. But again, supervisory role. So you can't say, oh, well, they weren't trained or equipped to handle inmates. Some of these were supervisors. Wouldn't they be one of the main ones that would be able to handle this? And we're talking about one guy, which, by the way, his actual cellmate speaks out about this. So, and I'll read to you what the cellmate said. But yeah.
Mr. Nantwey's room did absolutely nothing to stop the beating that he was enduring and offered absolutely no assistance to him, completely contrary to DOC's protocols and guidelines. Then the grand jury began to focus on the cover-up, as amateurish and ineffective as it was. In the 6th count, David Ferrone, Francis Chandler, Jonah Levy, Caleb Blair, Thomas Eck, Nicholas Vitale, Daniel Berger, and Craig Klemek are charged with conspiracy to offer a false instrument for filing. DOCS has a form known as 2104A, which requires the individual corrections officer who was present to indicate who was present at the scene, what force was used by the author of the report, and what force was witnessed by the author of the report. In addition to charging conspiracy, the grand jury must also allege overt acts. In this case, the overt acts alleged are, number one, that every single use of force reported by these individuals omitted two people, Sergeant Chandler and Corrections Officer Levi, and that was done intentionally. The second overt act, it is alleged that the reports were in fact filed and known to be false when they were filed. And the third overt act alleged is that on the following morning, at a diner called Raspberries in Oneida County, all of the co-conspirators met and agreed to continue with the story that everything they did was completely proper. David Ferrone, Francis Chandler, and Thomas Eck are also charged.
I'm sorry, I have to respond to this. It doesn't matter if he talked back to the officers. It doesn't matter if he talked back to the officers. What they did, excessive force and literally beating him until he was unalive, there's not enough talk back in the world where you have this one guy and literally 10 people stomping him. Period. Like this is just pretty much punk asses who literally decided that they had power over this one guy. And literally, to me, in my opinion, this should be first degree. This should be first degree.
With conspiracy and conspiracy to tamper with physical evidence. These three individuals, along with others known to the grand jury, allegedly concocted a scheme to posthumously plant a weapon in Mr. Nantwee's room. The overt acts alleged in favor of that conspiracy, alleged overt act number one, is that the weapon itself was found earlier that day in a completely unrelated incident. The second overt act, a body-worn camera intentionally hung in a men's room at the infirmary of Midstate, caught two of the co-conspirators discussing the conspiracy to plant the weapon, again posthumously, on Mr. Nantwee. And the third overt act alleged is that defendant Chandler, actually in front of a group of all of the corrections officers, asked for a volunteer to have someone come forward and say that it was he that discovered the weapon. And it is alleged that that quote-unquote volunteer was Thomas Eck. Mr. Slauson, Corrections Officer Donald Slauson, is charged with tampering with physical evidence, and it is alleged that he had cleaned up the holding cell of all of Mr. Nantwee's blood over at the infirmary. And the final defendant is Sergeant Michael Eifert. He is charged, again, with offering a false instrument for filing, allegedly falsely asserting that he had no opportunity to look.
You guys, sorry, I have to keep breaking this up, but please get the likes up. Please hit the like button, hit the like. It gets me in the algorithm so people can hear about this story. So please get the likes up. Thank you.
Into the room and, in fact, saw no use of physical force against Mr. Nantwee. I want to thank the staff, my office. Probably 10% of my office has been involved in corrections officers allegedly committing homicides over the last 2 months. And I'm joined here with Senior Assistant DA Sarah Fitzpatrick and Senior Assistant DA Alphonse Williams, who have done an incredible job in helping me present this evidence to a grand jury. I also am joined here today by Ruben Lindo and the Reverend Kevin McCall, who are both individuals who have supported me throughout my endeavors in an effort to get justice, not only for Mr. Brooks, but for Mr. Nantwee as well. I don't believe that anybody from Mr. Nantwee's family is here. The only individual from his family that I've spoken to is through his attorney, his dad, and I understand that his dad is not in the greatest of physical shape and apparently was unable to travel here today. I also want to thank Troopers Tim Doherty.
Okay, you guys. So yeah, I know this is a lot. This is a lot. Now, these are the two that have been apparently allegedly charged for unaliving the M word. These are the two that have been actually charged with that. Okay. And I'm going to show you all the pictures, all right? Damn it, I'm showing them all. But these are the two that allegedly have been charged with that, all right? Now, with that being said, let me go here. And I'm going to show you the pictures of all of these. I was about to say the F word, but Lord knows I already got a lot of stuff that they said in this. And again, fair use, this is for educational purposes, but I'm about to show y'all all of them. All right, let me know if you guys can see it. Okay, hold on. And let me go here. All right. Hey, Tracy, I'm sorry. I'm trying to, get this together. 1 second. All right, so here we are. You guys can see it, right? Okay, so this is Correctional Officer Jonah Levi. All right, this is one of the ones that I just showed you that is actually being accused of and charged with unaliving. This is the judge that was actually there for the arraignment. This is Sergeant, and I repeat, Sergeant David Ferrone. All right, that's him right here. Yeah, we about to go through all of them, all of them. All right, and then we have here Officer Thomas Eck right here, the one who literally is like short. He the same height as that damn woman right there. Ain't no offense to short guys, but I'm just saying him right there. All right. And then we have here Caleb Blair. He is the other one who is being charged with the unaliving. Okay. And then, okay, this is Thomas Eck again. Then here we have, now mind you, a lot of these guys got some good weight on them. This is Francis Chandler, and this is one guy, just one guy. One inmate, 22 years old. Francis Chandler is right here. And then this fool who looked like he's scared, which he should be scared, Nicholas Vitale. Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. Probably weak as hell. Probably ain't never had a one-on-one fight before in his life. Punk ass. Then you have, look at this dude. Look how big he is. Craig Klimek. Okay, this is another one. Let me see. Did I get all of them? Nope. Here we go. This is Sergeant. This is the second Sergeant. Donald Slauson. That's him. All right. And then we have Daniel Berger right here with the glasses on. That is Daniel Berger. So these are the freaking fools. The freaking fools who literally sat up there, and all of them, one guy, a 22-year-old, they decided to be. Okay? All of these dudes are huge. Even with them being maybe short in height, they all have weight on them. Not to mention, remember, they have certain like armor that they wear. Like I believe, don't they wear like steel toe boots? Like they have those big old like combat boots. Like, come the hell on. Come the hell on. So I know the family to a certain extent is speaking out through the lawyer. I'll definitely look into that more as far as if the family, and honestly, with after the live yesterday, seeing Carmelo's family cry, I don't know if I could take that right now, you guys, because this is just a lot, but I'm definitely going to stay on top of this case too. But Messiah's cellmate has spoke out. He spoke out actually at the end of March. Okay, not even a month after his inmate was unalived. He says that, he had to literally, he said he's doing this for his friend because he said that he's going to speak out about it. And they did say that, Natwe did have some type of debilitating mental illness, post-traumatic stress from a 2021 police encounter in the Bronx. And let's be clear, I think a lot of us got some form of PTSD when it comes to the cops. I am definitely somebody who literally is a civilian. I have not, had any charges on me, but I don't really trust cops either. Coming from where I come from, we're very hesitant because even if you do have good cops, which you do, they know who the bad cops are. And if they're not willing to report the bad cops, what does that make you? But that's just my personal opinion on the situation. But with that, now I know someone's going to say, what was Natwe actually in prison for? He was in prison for allegedly pow-powing and unaliving two people, which was a rival and a stranger's, authorities say. Okay, that's what they're saying. So prosecutors withdrew apparently the original plea offer, and Natwe accepted a 5-year prison sentence. So the actual unaliving cases were ongoing when Natwe was unalived. So he had not been charged with the unaliving of those two individuals. What he had been apparently charged with was the pow-pow possession. That's what he was charged with. But pretty much the cellmate is saying that the morning of March 1st, Natwe's cellmate awoke from a nap to find Natwe crying. And they said that he was apparently off of his psychiatric medication. Now, this is all alleged based off of the article I'm reading. They said the cellmate said staff hadn't been giving him his normal medication and he wouldn't take what they gave him instead. Natwe was still emotional when he went to take a shower later that morning. Witness recall hearing him cry in the shower area. They then heard him get into an argument with a National Guardsman. His shower had overlapped, as they said, his shower had overlapped with count, the routine security census when officers tally residents as they stand near the cells or bunks. And then they said the cellmate said, I didn't know it was count. Still in their room, heard Natwe say it in a loud voice. So pretty much Natwe was saying, I didn't know it was count. By all available accounts, the confrontation was uneventful. The cellmate said Natwe threw his hands up, then walked back to their cell. So he threw his hands up and walked back to their cell. There was no threat, no act of violence. Jordan McLean, who was bunked in the same dorm as Natwe, said, and pretty much said, but the National Guard felt some type of way. They were scared. Did you hear that, y'all? Now, mind you, and this inmate is willing to give his name. Willing to give his name. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Hit the like button. He's willing to give his name. He said there was no act of violence. His hands were up. His hands were up. And pretty much said, but the National Guard felt some type of way. They were scared because, you know, as soon as they see someone that don't look like them, sometimes they can get scared. One of the troops activated an alert that called in backup. And we've heard that just based off of what was just said in the news coverage and also what I read on the document. The cellmate said he heard keys jingling and shoes through the snow outside. Then the door to their dorm opened. What room is he in? He heard a guard ask. A guard and two officers with the prison SWAT style correctional emergency response team, or CERT, entered the cell. Who has the problem? The guard said. Natwe and his cellmate replied, there was no problem. A National Guard troop then entered the room and pointed to Natwe, the cellmate recalled. One CERT officer approached the cellmate in the back of the room and hit him in the ribs and told him to shut up. And then that's when, of course, all of the details begin. Okay. And literally they said roughly 7 officers took part in what was going on. Witnesses outside the room recall seeing 7 to 15 officers respond to the call for backup for one inmate. One inmate. The cellmate remembers seeing them push Natwe onto his bed and kicking and punching him. Some took out their batons. You guys, again, this is triggering for me because this is reminding me of Rodney King. For those who may not be old enough to remember it, I remember it. I visually remember seeing it on the news. Yeah, and you know that led to, of course, the LA riots. And yeah, I can't even really get into more detail. And there was already enough detailed in that news coverage. At one point, officers picked up Natweed and pretty much forced them to the ground. And yeah, it even shows in here that apparently the cellmate had to mop up his cellmate's red sauce. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So they said they cleaned up the cell. The prisoners had to clean it up. So yeah. Yeah. This is crazy. And they said the cellmate spent the next several days transferring between prisons. Authority told him the movement was for his protection, but it made it difficult for him to communicate with the outside world. To call new people, prisoners must add them to a list for facility administration to approve, which can take hours or days. So, yeah, they have witnesses. And this is why they're being charged. And not to mention, they have cameras. Now, from my understanding, if I heard that correctly, what we just listened to, some of them did not properly have their cameras on, allegedly. I think that's what he said. But yeah. So not only did they do this, but they met outside and tried to come up with a plan to hide all of this. This is what's going on. I hope the family, because I can't even imagine, but I hope the family sues the hell out of the New York State prison system. I would sue as far as them not properly giving him his medications. Oh man, L. Jackson, I'm so sorry. See, this is why it's triggering. The fact that you're willing to listen to this when you've gone through a similar situation. This is insane. And this is why I say all the time, just because people are in uniform, just because people are licensed, there's another story I'm going to cover soon. Like, just because people are lawyers, judges, correctional officers, don't mean that they need to be in those positions. Literally. And this is exactly what we're seeing right now. And you know, the crazy part about it is they better hope like hell that they're all charged. Well, they're charged, but they better hope that they're convicted and they're all found guilty. Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, L. Jackson. I'm so sorry for that. Whew, this is tough, but they better hope. Because as y'all know from the Rodney King situation, even though it was literally on video, y'all know the end of that trial. So much so that it cost LA billions of dollars. I'll vividly remember that too. So they better hope that they're actually doing all of this correctly, accordingly. Because my issue is that even with all of that, that they just provided, that you heard, like you guys said, they literally, it was hard to hear. It was hard to hear. So the fact that they have all of that information and these race soldiers literally still plead not guilty, I got a problem with that. I have a problem with that. Not guilty. And that's the same thing that happened with the Rodney King trial. Even though they were recorded, still they pleaded not guilty. Oh my gosh, Adrian, I'm so sorry. See, these are the type of stories that happen. I can't even like post some of this stuff. What I will do is, and make sure, I know it's hard, you guys, make sure you try to asterisk some of this stuff. They probably gonna try to, I hope they don't flag it because this is fair use for educational purposes. But it was on my spirit. I had to talk about this. when I heard the story, I just was like, I even had to have D. I was like, you're gonna have to pray for me because I'm about to talk about a story that is just, it's triggering. It's triggering. 22 years old. 10 grown men. Now, trust and believe if the tables was turned, because this is literally a gang. If the tables was turned and they were all black doing this, especially with the gang affiliations, so on and so forth, they would have sat up there and said, put their asses and lock their asses up, and we gonna keep them in jail with no freaking bail, no bond until the trial. Y'all know if it was the other way around. Hell, we got a damn RICO case out here right now with what's going on. And none of them have gotten bond. At least the ones with the bigger charges, they haven't gotten bond. This is serious. You can't even read this without it being uncomfortable. I was going through the court documents and I was like, what the hell? It makes your stomach turns. And how much you want to bet? Let me see. How much you want to bet they're not locked up right now? Let me see. Let's take a look. Prison guards, New York. I bet you they're out. This is like freaking ridiculous. And then people have the nerve to say race ain't got nothing to do with it. Man, get the hell up out of here. Let me see. Because my thing is this, if you've actually been charged with unaliving someone, you shouldn't get a bond. You shouldn't even get one. So let's see. I don't see anything right now that says that they are actually locked up. Messiah out on, let's see. Let's see. Now, see, they're just giving us the details about what happened, but I'm not seeing if they were actually released. They did say they were charged. They were charged on the 16th, it looks like. Let's see. You see, are the prison guards in this case out on bond? Okay, it says it is difficult to confirm whether the prison guards in the Messiah Natwe case are out on bond. While it's possible they have been released on bond, the information about their bail status is not readily available in the search results. Y'all, I don't know. This don't sound good. This doesn't sound good. Hi, Cynthia. You said the hearing was yesterday or the day before. Yeah, it was on the 16th, I believe. It was on the 16th. But I don't see anything as of right now saying if they're out on bond or not. But based off of these actual pictures, that we saw, we can go back to them. It looks like some of them were still in handcuffs. But let's check and see. Let's evaluate here. Because if any of them are literally still out, I got an issue with that. Now, see, they have their hands folded, but they can easily have handcuffs on them, and we can't see them when they have their hands like that. Yeah, okay, so there's handcuffs. There are handcuffs. My thing is this: why the hell do they have their handcuffs forward like that? I want them suckers behind their back like they do people. So handcuffs. Okay, so they literally are in handcuffs. They better not get out. They better not get out. And you know what's interesting? It makes me wonder if their attorneys and stuff told them to kind of wear long shirts and stuff so people can't see their cuffs. You have to look really, really good to see their cuffs. You have to really stare to see that they have their cuffs on them. Like, y'all, let me tell y'all something right now. This is not, I have a feeling things are about to get very, very deep in this country. That's all I'm going to say. Very, very deep. Some of the less charges were ROR. What, ROR? Hold on, child. ROR meaning released on, oh my gosh. So you're saying some of the less charges were released and released from custody without posting bail or bond? That ROR? To me, none of them should have a lesser charge, especially with them all coming together to plot and plan on covering this up. And see, this is what I'm saying. This is the issue that I have. So R&R, for those, it looks like it stands for, it refers to a pretrial release option that allows a defendant to be released from custody without having to post bail or bond. So apparently, if some of them got released on R&R, they didn't even have to post bail or bond. Do you see this BS? So all of the people who are talking about Carmelo's Anthony case, who claims that he should definitely not have gotten that reduced bond and all of that stuff, even though he had no prior record. You have these 10 guards who by law said they were going to uphold the law, and they have certain training to deal with people, did what they did, apparently didn't have their cameras on, was plotting to put fake evidence in the guy's cell, met up literally at a restaurant to talk about what they plan to do. And you mean to tell me that some of them possibly got released without having to post bail or bond? And people want to keep trying to say we don't live in a racist society and race has nothing to do with it. This is insane. And my thing is, all I ask for is fairness all the way around. But clearly, as we can see constantly, time and time again, fair is not equal. These freaking men, they ain't men, these race soldiers, these bastards should not even be out. They should stay locked up until trial. Period. This shouldn't even be a conversation. So here we are dealing with another case. And you know what's so crazy for those who actually listen to, oh, here's another asshole right here. Here's another asshole. Which asshole is this? I can't remember his name, but here's another asshole right here. Why? Look at his eyes. But I literally just said yesterday that Carmelo's case is probably going to be the case that's like the trial of the decade or whatever the case may be. I don't know, y'all. This is hitting up there too, especially when they have two cases like this. They have two cases like this in the same state. The same state. So exactly. And the thing is, there have been definitely cases. I mean, you guys, look, I'm sure, I don't know if you guys remember the show Oz. And, I know that you be like, it's just a show. But no, a lot of the times people, when they write those shows, it's based off of true experiences and true events. We're not going to pretend that Oz didn't show us the shadiness of those correctional officers too. We hear about those stories all the time. All the time. So, you know what I mean? Now that you done had people unalived, and I wouldn't even be shocked if there have definitely been plenty more unalivings before the technology, before the cameras, that people have gotten away with and they were able to cover it up. You know what I'm saying? They were able to cover it up. Interesting enough, you saying upstate New York is different. Honestly, yeah, Cynthia, Oz. Oz was hard to watch too, but a lot of that stuff they said was based on true events. And stories that they heard, prison stories. But even here in California, I don't know if you guys remember, but I did a story about 2 prison wives who ended up being unalived by their husbands who were incarcerated in the same prison 4 months apart, and they said they were unalived by the husbands. And I was like, how in the hell is that even possible? And we didn't even know about it. Where the heck were these correctional officers and everything else? And I remember somebody literally made a comment and said, how do we know the correctional officers didn't do it? And I said, well, damn. How do we know? Because it can be a CO's word against somebody who's already convicted felon in there who already serving a life sentence. That's the sad part. You just really don't know. You sometimes can't tell the difference between the inmate and the correctional officer. Who's the inmate? So this is definitely another case I will be watching for sure. Because it's not sitting well with me. It got my stomach in knots, and when my stomachs are in knots and I'm uncomfortable, that means that I need to keep track of it. I need to keep track of it. So yeah, so I'll definitely, the full hearing though is like over an hour, if I'm not mistaken, Cynthia. And I mean, we've already been here an hour. So as much as we could talk about this all day. Are you up there? Are you up there too? Oh, you trying to find out if they're in upstate New York. But yeah, so definitely it's hard, but I'm telling you right now, just with the little amount that we heard, if you are going to look at the full hearing, you guys, I'm sure you're going to hear a lot worse. So if you were upset just by what you heard just on my channel today, just brace yourself. Because I typically do not do this, but I had to. We got to report the news. We have to report the news at this point, and we got to report the news honestly, because again, some places they like to cover up certain things to protect certain people. So when I saw this, I said, "Oh no, I got to talk about it. I have to talk about it." So I'm going to continue to read the court documents, but again, it's very hard to read them, but it's very detailed and it's sick. It's sick. RIP to this young man. Even with him and what he was being accused of, the whole purpose of you being able to, taxpayers pay for these facilities. And we pay these correctional officers. A lot of them make top dollar, 6 figures to protect not only these inmates from each other, but to make sure that you also protect them from themselves. Because you do have people in there who have mental illnesses and things like that. There shouldn't even be someone unaliving themselves in prison if correctional officers are doing their job correctly. That is a part of their job, is to make sure that these people stay alive. Now, granted, their mentality is to make sure that they make it home, but there's no way in hell you're going to tell me that you were so scared of this one kid. Because to me, I can't even say he was a grown, he's 22, but he 22 years old and all 10 of you? No way. You just didn't like the fact that you either felt like, who was this black man? What's going on here? And you just wanted to pick on someone. Because they literally said there wasn't a problem. And they still called CERT and decided to attack him. Absolutely insane. Prayers to the family, prayers to also the other family as well. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the other inmate, his name was Robert Brooks, if I'm not mistaken. This was another inmate that actually was unalived due to COs, correctional officers, and he actually was unalived at I think a Marcy Correctional Facility, which is just across the street from Mid-State Prison. So he was at an actual correctional facility right across the street, and that happened to him. So this is what we're dealing with. And at this point, especially right now with everything that's going on in DC and beyond, I'm gonna have to say a prayer, and I hope this stuff stops. But you guys, I don't know. I have a gut feeling in my stomach, and I don't want to say what I'm feeling right now, because I am on my monetized channel. Maybe that can be a conversation I have with my members in the background, because I do those videos and they're not monetized. So maybe we'll have that conversation behind the scenes, because I'm not going to say what I'm going to say here, but I don't have a good feeling about this. I don't. If you look at the history, especially of places like New York, we even had that one guy. He was actually on a show where they said police officers pow-powed him over 40 something times. Y'all remember that story? This was like in the early 90s, but they had it was like a case that they even had on Netflix or something like that. You guys can probably look it up, but it was an actual African immigrant who came here to the U.S. to go to school, if I'm not mistaken, and police officers pow-powed him 44 times. I think it was like 44. It's over 40. I know that. It was like ridiculous. And those guys got let off. You know? Exactly, Cynthia. See, this is why I'm saying, at the end of the day, right is right and wrong is wrong. I don't care what race someone is. And the fact that you were in Florida, you look, we let the damn Casey Anthony's and George Zimmerman walk around free. You see what I'm saying? This is why, I rock with people where it's no matter what their background is, they stand on morals and integrity. Right is right and wrong is wrong, bottom line. You know what I mean? And that's why I say fair is not equal, because look at what we're seeing right now. So prayers to this family. I don't know if he had any kids, but prayers. You know what I mean? Even if he allegedly did what they claim he did, that does not mean that he should have been unalived by the hands of these COs who are supposed to protect and serve. They're not. And National Guards at that? Get out of here. You all remember who was in it. Yeah, it's been a lot of cases. Ty. A lot of cases. We probably can't even count them on both hands. We can't even count them. So at one point, does this end? Does New York have to go completely bankrupt because they have to pay out all of these money to these families? What is it going to take? But we'll continue. For those who may have some more information, by all means, you can definitely hit me up on Instagram. It's the same name, The Chris Nicole, or you can The Chris Nicole spelled the same way on my page at gmail.com. And yeah, but as much as I wanted to investigate more and more, it's a lot. And I want to just give you just a taste of what they are saying happened and what was going on. But definitely, I'm going to continue with this case, just like I'm continuing with Carmelo Anthony's case. And yeah, we're going to have some deep discussions about this. And as far as I see, in my opinion, they all need to serve life. They don't ever need to have any type of jobs like that ever again. Life in prison. Yeah, I said it, life. First degree, bottom line. All of them. Because if you was willing to cover it up, you should be charged for the same thing. So with that being said, you guys, thank you guys so much. Please hit the like button. I didn't want to keep saying in the video the whole time, hit the like button, but I'm trying to tell you guys more and more. Please hit the like button. The like button gets me in the algorithm so people can see my videos. And I definitely feel like this is a video that everybody needs to see and to see what's going on who has not heard about this story. Everybody needs to talk about it at this point. So please hit the like button, share the video, so then we can definitely have a discussion about this, and let's continue the conversation below in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on my next video. Toodles.